Okay, Tobit, not Tobit, Tobit, chapter 5.
Well, now there's Tobias, Tobias.
Well,
Tobit.
that's the son,
Okay.
Tobit's son. So, Barbara, do you want to?
Sure. Then Tobias answered him, Father, I will do everything that you have commanded me. But how can I obtain the money when I do not know the man? Then Tobit gave him the receipt and said to him, Find a man to go with you, and I will pay him wages as long as I live, and go and get the money. So he went to look for a man, and he found Raphael, who was an angel, but Tobias did not know it. Tobias said to him, Can you go with me to Ragas in Media? Are you acquainted with that region? The angel replied, I will go with you. I am familiar with the way, and I have stayed with our brother Gabael. Then Tobias said to him, Wait for me, and I shall tell my father. And he said to him, Go, and do not delay. So he went in and said to his father, I have found someone to go with me. He said, Call him to me so that I may learn to what tribe he belongs, and whether he is a reliable man to go with you. So Tobias invited him in. He entered, and they greeted each other. Then Tobit said to him, My brother, to what tribe and family do you belong? Tell me. But he answered, Are you looking for a tribe and a family, or for a man whom you will pay to go with your son? And Tobit said to him, I should like to know, my brother, your people and your name. He replied, I am Azarias, the son of the great Ananias, one of your relatives. Then Tobit said to him, You are welcome, my brother. Do not be angry with me because I tried to learn your tribe and family. You are a relative of mine of a good and noble lineage.
Okay, let's pause there for just a minute. There's a part here where it begins that I think is relevant for us as Christians. And that is Tobias meets this angel. But guess what? He doesn't know he's an angel. How many times in our lives have we not recognized an angel? Because they don't all have halos and wings. You know, sometimes they're just regular people. And God may just send them in our path. He's done his work. Now he's expecting us to do ours. And, I just think, when I think back over my ministry, the number of times that I've done something that I find, I've called on somebody who was having a problem. And, they'd say, I just never wanted to go to you and bother you, but I'm so glad you called because I'm dealing with this. So it really, it's kind of, that doesn't happen just to clergy. It happens to people that, if you're lost. I remember traveling in Europe. There were times we'd get lost and somebody would just say, you look lost. Can I help you? We had this happen when we were in Portugal. We were trying to find a restaurant and we weren't positive of the name of the restaurant, but the guide had told us, how to find the restaurant. And we did exactly what he said, could not find the darn restaurant. Well, a husband and wife and their little child said, can we help you? What are you looking for? And I said, well, it's a restaurant. I think maybe it's the one we've passed. He said, do you know the name of it? And I said, no. It was in Portuguese. And he said, well, let me look for restaurants. He brought out his iPhone and he's doing a search. I bet he spent 10 minutes with us. And then we just kind of ended up talking. He's, where are you from? Well, we're from United States. Yeah, they teach us geography here. We're in the United States. That's a pretty big place. I said, Kansas. He goes, the middle of the country. Yeah. And I said, yes. And finally, he said, well, I can call your guide and ask. I said, you've done more than enough. We walked back to the restaurant we passed, walked inside, and saw it was the restaurant we were supposed to go to.
Oh.
Now, what happened wasn't just finding the restaurant. It was finding this couple
Mm-hmm.
who were like little angels. They didn't solve the problem, but they made us feel more comfortable. And I think that happens to us a lot. And sometimes we discount that.
Mm-hmm.
And we say, well, that was, you just don't know. We had a member of Emmanuel. We went to the Irish concert last night.
Mm-hmm.
We had a member of Emmanuel tripped on the steps and fell and ended up, they took her to the hospital. She has a couple brain bleeds and 4 broken ribs.
Oh my God.
So HCC, or the hospital here in Hutch, said we're going to transport her to Wichita.
Yeah.
Well, this happened just as Joyce and I were coming into the Memorial Hall. And we saw somebody from the church that was standing over by her. And we went over and looked, and we knew her. And she was knocked out. And then the paramedics arrived, and, I wanted to have a prayer with her before they hauled her off. Well, when they're treating somebody, you can be a minister, it doesn't make any difference.
Mm.
And one of the paramedics was a former student of mine at HCC.
Oh.
And I said, Jeremy, I'd like to have a prayer with her before you guys haul her off to the hospital. They got her on the cart. And Jeremy said, this is her pastor. He's going to have a prayer with her. And all the guys stepped back.
Mm-hmm.
Had a prayer with her. And I said, thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking care of our friend.
Mm.
And they hauled her off to the hospital. But,
The timing of that.
yeah, I mean, we could have gotten there earlier and never would have known.
Mm-mm.
But it just, boom, we were there,
Mm.
just when needed. And that's happened to me a lot of times.
I don't believe in coincidence. I mean, I'm sure there are a few coincidences, but there's some things that are directed.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, God's hand is at work if we allow it to work.
Mm.
And so here, Tobit is concerned with his son going with somebody that he trusted. Well, the son found this guy who was an angel. And as he said to Tobit, Tobit says, what's your name? And he said, Azariah, which translates, God has helped, as a covert role that he plays in the story.
Okay, I hate to interrupt. I do it too many times, but my Tobit 5 starts with, then Tobias answered his father, Tobit, I will do everything that you have commanded me. Which
She has
doesn't,
a little abbreviated version from what mine
it
is.
doesn't.
Oh.
What Barbara's reading,
That-
and what
that-
you're reading, I don't see anything about
Barbara's
Azariah.
kind of fast-tracked through some of the early chapters.
Well, mine's like
Or
hers.
Want me to read out of one of those?
We don't want the abbreviated
I'm
version.
totally
There you go.
I
lost.
didn't know.
Well, he asked, Tobit says, I want to find out his family and the tribe to make sure that he will be a trustworthy companion for you.
But that's not what it says in ours, is
Now, when you
No.
have verse 9,
Barbara has a different version now that she will read out of.
So Tobias went
Well,
in
it's
to
kind of
tell
reading.
his father, Tobias, and said to him, I have just found a man who is one of our own Israelite kindred. He replied, call the man in, my son, so that I may learn about his family and to what tribe he belongs, and whether he is trustworthy enough to go with you. That's what yours says that too, doesn't it?
Well, it does on 9. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
well,
the
that's
trouble.
what-
I was starting at.
That's what I read
That's
was,
what this one says.
I just read 9.
Okay, I think it was just me.
Do you have 9?
No, I'm like
Yeah.
you.
Barbara's version there was the bridge
Barbara's version was entirely different than yours and mine and his.
Well, one of the other things the problems that we have is,
Revised Standard Version.
well, Tobit was put together in pieces.
Uh-huh.
There were like 5 or 6 finds they found one in Qumran,
Uh-huh.
and then they found one in a jar somewhere else. And so somebody is piecing these together. And when we get to Judith, we find out that not only are they piecing things together, they're getting history wrong.
Um,
They're talking about Nebuchadnezzar in Judith, but from the rest of what Judith says, he's already dead. And they said Nebuchadnezzar was Assyrian, and he was Babylonian. So when you get all of these scrolls and you put them together,
they don't always.
they're not all going to fit together nicely.
Hmm.
So we kind of have to. This is one of those, just like all of the scripture, you can't take it literally.
Right. Hmm.
Now, he also mentions that his family, the angel, Raphael says, let me if I can get to.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
It's allergies.
Yeah, boy. Too many kitty cats.
And, he says that Hananiah he's the son of Hananiah.
Yeah.
And Hananiah, remember, it's ending in that AH, and that means God has given.
Mm.
Now, it does say here that talks about Shemaliah. Shemaliah? Is that how you would pronounce that?
What verse was it?
It's going to be around after 14.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's how I would have said it.
Okay, the way she would say it, that it says that in some,
version.
How would Kathy say?
how would
Yeah.
Kathy say it? That's what we need.
Yeah, that's what we need.
That in some manuscripts, that Shemaliah is probably a corrupted form of Shemlama, which means God has recompensed. And other texts use that Shemaniah, which means God has heard. So, it depends what manuscript you've got. So when we're looking at these, if these have been retranslated, it depends which manuscript they use. And oftentimes, the Bible that we have, the canonical Bible, they've dealt with those issues. But when you're dealing with stuff that they're just now finding, there have been a couple of parts of Gospels that when they uncover a new manuscript, it doesn't say exactly what we thought the Bible was saying, which drives the fundamentalists nuts. And so it's frustrating. And we're being frustrated just trying to read it in English because it depends how that translation was done in English.
Oh, interesting. Hmm.
So,
What verse was I on, or where?
I thought you were around 9.
Okay. Okay, so Tobias went in to tell his father Tobit and said to him, I have just found a man who is one of our own Israelite kindred. He replied, Call the man in, my son, so that I may learn about his family and to what tribe he belongs, and whether he is trustworthy enough to go with you. Then Tobias went out and called him and said, Young man, my father is calling for you. So he went in to him, and Tobit greeted him first. He replied, "Joyous greetings to you." But Tobit retorted, "What joy is left for me any more? I am a man without eyesight. I cannot see the light of heaven, but I lie in darkness like the dead who no longer see the light. Although still alive, I am among the dead. I hear people, but I cannot see them." But the young man said, "Take courage. The time is near for God to heal you. Take courage." Then Tobit said to him, "My son Tobias wishes to go to Media. Can you accompany him and guide him? I will pay your wages, brother." He answered, "I can go with him, and I know all the roads, for I have often gone to Media, and have crossed all its plains, and I am familiar with its mountains and all of its roads." Then Tobit said to him, "Brother, of what family are you, and from what tribe? Tell me, brother." He replied, "Why do you need to know my tribe?" But Tobit said, "I want to be sure, brother, whose son you are and what your name is." He replied, "I am Azariah, the son of the great Hananiah, one of your relatives." Then Tobit said to him, "Welcome. God save you, brother. Do not feel bitter toward me, brother, because I wanted to be sure about your ancestry. It turns out that you are a kinsman and of good and noble lineage. For I knew Hananiah and Nathan, the two sons of Shemaliah, and they used to go with me to Jerusalem and worshipped with me there, and were not led astray. Your kindred are good people. You come of good stock. Hearty welcome." Then he added, "I will pay you a drachma a day as wages, as well as expenses for yourself and my son. So go with my son, and I will add something to your wages." Raphael answered, "I will go with him, so do not fear. We shall leave in good health and return to you in good health, because the way is safe." So Tobit said to him, "Blessings be upon you, brother." Then he called his son and said to him, "Son, prepare supplies for the journey and set out with your brother. May God in heaven bring you safely there and return you in good health to me, and may his angel, my son, accompany you both for your safety." Before he went out to start his journey, he kissed his father and mother. Tobit then said to him, "Have a safe journey." But his mother began to weep and said to Tobit, "Why is it that you have sent my child away? Is he not the staff of our hand as he goes in and out before us? Do not heap money upon money, but let it be a ransom for our child. For the life that is given to us by the Lord is enough for us." Tobit said to her, "Do not worry, our child will leave in good health and return to us in good health. Your eyes will see him on the day when he returns to you in good health. Say no more. Do not fear for them, my sister, for a good angel will accompany him. His journey will be successful, and he will come back in good health." So she stopped weeping.
Okay. Now,
So he knew it was an angel?
no, I don't think
Oh,
he just knew he was from good stock.
Okay.
It was good family. Now, that last discussion that was going on, who was Tobit talking to?
His wife?
His wife. And yet, at the towards the end of that chapter, he called her sister. In verse 20, I guess it is. "Do not worry, our son will go safely and come back safely, and you will see him with your own eyes. Do not worry or be anxious, my dear." My translation says, "my dear." I think yours said, "my sister."
Oh, yeah.
But
That's
no,
what
wrong,
mine-
well, everybody's brothers and sisters, so.
Yeah.
She was his wife, but it was not unusual for a husband to call a wife a sister. And, we have some denominations that talk about brothers and sisters.
Sure.
So, that's what's happening there. I just wanted to clarify that it wasn't two separate people. So, now, Tobit is blind. So, he's sending his son to go get his money so that, he has it. And, his wife is saying, "Why send money after money?"
Yeah.
Write it off for the sake of our boy. Let us be content to live life the Lord has appointed for us. And Tobit said to her, do not worry, our son will come back safely.
That's out of character. Wives are never skeptical about our plans.
Oh, yeah?
That's out of character.
Yeah.
Well, mine
So,
says that
Just let it be.
Just let it be.
has a sister in it. So no more. Do not fear for them, my sister.
yeah.
It's just,
Okay, let's jump into chapter 6.
Okay.
And, whenever you talk about media, I think something different.
Oh, yeah.
I think of multimedia, I think of computers, but media was actually a city in these times.
Okay. So she stopped weeping. The young man went out, and the angel went with him. And the dog came out with him and went along with them. So they both journeyed along, and when the first night overtook them, they camped by the Tigris River. Then the young man went down to wash his feet in the Tigris River. Suddenly a large fish leaped up from the water and tried to swallow the young man's foot, and he cried out. But the angel said to the young man, catch hold of the fish and hang on to it. So the young man grasped the fish and drew it up on the land. Then the angel said to him, cut open the fish and take out its gall, heart, and liver. Keep them with you, but throw away the intestines. For its gall, heart, and liver are useful as medicine. So after cutting open the fish, the young man gathered together the gall, heart, and liver. Then he roasted and ate some of the fish and kept some to be salted. The two continued on their way together until they were near Media. Then the young man questioned the angel and said to him, Brother Azariah, what medicinal value is there in the fish's heart, liver, and in the gall? He replied, as for the fish's heart and liver, you must burn them to make a smoke in the presence of a man or woman afflicted by a demon or evil spirit, and every affliction will flee away and never remain with that person any longer. And as for the gall, anoint a person's eyes where white films have appeared on them, blow upon the white films, and the eyes will be healed.
Okay, let's stop there for a minute. I wish I had known that when I had to have my cataracts taken off. This would be a lot easier if they could just
Get
pour
some
a little,
catfish gall.
yeah, get some gall and
Oh,
put them on the cataract and then blow on it. The commentary that I've been reading following this has an interesting point. It's not significant really, but it is. The Tigris was actually west of Nineveh. So he's leaving Nineveh and going east to go to Media. And he's talking about crossing the Tigris. Well, the Tigris is the other way. So, that's just,
Picky.
that's just a small point that, they had to find some way for this kid to get a fish. So they just said they crossed the Tigris. And, none of us knew that. I didn't know it until I read it in the commentary.
I didn't say Cow Creek.
I didn't
Have a named river.
But it was interesting that they, that he gets this fish, and the heart, the liver, and the gall had medicinal things involved. Well, that was like an old wives' tale during this time, that people would be familiar with that when you're saying, keep these things. So that's folklore, which they're slipping into the story.
The practice that their medicine men, in that region,
Yeah.
to practice for healing people.
Yeah, medicine to heal is not something that is just 20th century, 21st century.
Mhm.
I mean, they were doing it. We know the Native American tribes were doing it. The Aztecs were doing it. It was not always successful, but these people are no different. I mean, people are always looking at ways to make you better, to heal you. So let's go on.
Okay. When he entered Media and already was approaching Ecbatana, Raphael said to the young man, "Brother Tobias?" "Here I am," he answered. Then Raphael said to him, "We must stay this night in the home of Raguel. He is your relative, and he has a daughter named Sarah. He has no male heir and no daughter except Sarah only, and you, as next of kin to her, have before all other men a hereditary claim on her. Also, it is right for you to inherit her father's possessions. Moreover, the girl is sensible, brave, and very beautiful, and her father is a good man." He continued, "You have every right to take her in marriage. So listen to me, brother. Tonight I will speak to her father about the girl, so that we may take her, may take her to be your bride. When we return from Rages, we will celebrate her marriage. For I know that Raguel can by no means keep her from you or promise her to another man without incurring the penalty of death according to the decree of the book of Moses. Indeed, he knows that you, rather than any other man, are entitled to marry his daughter. So now listen to me, brother, and tonight we shall speak concerning the girl and arrange her engagement to you. And when we return from Rages, we will take her and bring her back with us to your house." Then Tobias said in answer to Raphael, "Brother Azariah, I have heard that she already has been married to 7 husbands, and that they died in the bridal chamber. On the night when they went in to her, they would die. I have heard people saying that it was a demon that killed them. It does not harm her, but it kills anyone who desires to approach her. So now, since I am the only son my father has, I am afraid that I may die, and bring my father's and mother's life down to their grave, grieving for me, and they have no other son to bury them." But Raphael said to him, "Do you not remember your father's orders when he commanded you to take a wife from your father's house? Now listen to me, brother, and say no more about this demon. Take her. I know that this very night she will be given to you in marriage. When you enter the bridal chamber, take some of the fish's liver and heart, and put them on the embers of the incense. An odor will be given off. The demon will smell it and flee, and will never be seen near her any more. Now when you are about to go to bed with her, both of you must first stand up and pray, imploring the Lord of heaven that mercy and safety may be granted to you. Do not be afraid, for she was set apart for you before the world was made. You will save her, and she will go with you. I presume that you will have children by her, and they will be as brothers to you. Now say no more." When Tobias heard the words of Raphael, and learned that she was his kinswoman, related through his father's lineage, he loved her very much, and his heart was drawn to her.
Okay. That's an interesting story.
You know where the Presbyterians get their preordination?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it was meant that the 7 die.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just,
The numbers again.
Oh, yeah.
yep, 7 of them died. I mean, 7 just pops up everywhere. And I think I told the story last week about the woman who was, she was going to get married, and she went to see the dressmaker to pick out a wedding gown. And, she found this one that was white, it was really nice. And he said, "Well, ma'am, white is usually reserved for women who are still pure." And he said, You've been married a couple times before." And she said, "Well, that's not a problem. I married my first husband. He was an older man, and he was so excited before the honeymoon that he had a heart attack and died. So I married the second guy, and he was very clumsy, and he slipped in the tub, hit his head, and he died." He said, "Well, what about your third husband?" She said, "I was married to him for 6 years." And she said, "The first night, he sat on the side of the bed and told me how great it was going to be. And he did that every night. He never touched me. He just kept telling me how great it was going to be. And the dressmaker said, well, what are you going to do? She said, well, I've decided I'm going to marry a Republican. Because he'll just make it great and not talk about how great it could be. So, anyway, that's one of Ronald Reagan's stories. He was a fantastic storyteller.
Yeah, he was.
I think I told this last week too, but I'm going to tell it again because it's so cute.
Because we weren't here.
Yeah.
It's been recorded. Is this on your?
Yeah, this will be recorded. On the at the Democrat convention, there's a little boy standing outside the convention hall, and he had a basket with kittens in it. And he was saying to people who come out, he said, here, you can buy a Democrat kitten. It's only $1. And he'd sell a few. And so the Republicans had their convention 3 weeks later. And the little boy was out there and with the kittens again. And he said, I have Republican kittens, $5. One of the reporters was there and he said, son, you were here 3 weeks ago. You were selling the same kittens for $1. Now you're asking $5? What's the difference? He said, their eyes are open now.
That would make it different.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Was that one of Ronald?
Yeah,
Reagan's?
that was one of Reagan's. He just had a delivery that,
A dry.
that it didn't really offend.
Yeah.
The Democrats weren't really offended. They'd laugh along because
Times are different then. Everybody
Yeah.
offended early now.
it's a cute story and so whenever I get a chance when these things pop up on Facebook, I always watch them because he was very funny. Now we're talking here about the different translations. This story of Sarah and the fish gall or the liver and what's the heart. It said that this story was found and part of this was omitted in what they call G1. That's one of the translations that they found. It was also in G11 and the Peshitta, but was not found in the fourth Qumran, Tobit B. So it was in the fourth Quran, the B translation of Tobit. So, we read this stuff and, everybody's got a different point of view. So, okay, are we hitting 7? Yes, good.
Okay. Now when they entered Ecbatana, Tobias said to him, Brother Azariah, take me straight to our brother Raguel. So he took him to Raguel's house, where they found him sitting beside the courtyard door. They greeted him first, and he replied, Joyous greetings, brothers, welcome and good health. Then he brought them into his house. He said to his wife Edna, How much the young man resembles my kinsman Tobit. Then Edna questioned them, saying, Where are you from, brothers? They answered, We belong to the descendants of Naphtali, who are exiles in Nineveh. She said to them, Do you know our kinsman Tobit? And they replied, Yes, we know him. Then she asked them, Is he in good health? They replied, He is alive and in good health. And Tobias added, He is my father. At that, Raguel jumped up and kissed him and wept. He also spoke to him as follows, Blessings on you, my child, son of a good and noble father. O most miserable of calamities, that such an upright and beneficent man has become blind. He then embraced his kinsman Tobias and wept. His wife Edna also wept for him, and their daughter Sarah likewise wept. Then Raguel slaughtered a ram from the flock and received them very warmly. When they had bathed and washed themselves and had reclined to dine, Tobias said to Raphael, Brother Azariah, ask Raguel to give me my kinswoman Sarah. But Raguel overheard it and said to the lad, Eat and drink and be merry tonight, for no one except you, brother, has the right to marry my daughter Sarah. Likewise, I am not at liberty to give her to any other man than yourself, because you are my nearest relative. But let me explain to you the true situation more fully, my child. I have given her to 7 men of our kinsmen, and all died on the night when they went into her. But now, my child, eat and drink, and the Lord will act on behalf of you both. But Tobias said, I will neither eat nor drink anything until you settle the things that pertain to me. So Raguel said, I will do so. She is given to you in accordance with the decree in the book of Moses. And it has been decreed from heaven that she be given to you. Take your kinswoman, from now on you are her brother, and she is your sister. She is given to you from today and forever. May the Lord of heaven, my child, guide and prosper you both this night, and grant you mercy and peace. Then Raguel summoned his daughter Sarah. When she came to him, he took her by the hand and gave her to Tobias, saying, Take her to be your wife in accordance with the law and decree written in the book of Moses. Take her and bring her safely to your father, and may the God of heaven prosper your journey with his peace. Then he called her mother and told her to bring writing material, and he wrote out a copy of a marriage contract to the effect that he gave her to him as wife according to the decree of the law of Moses. Then they began to eat and drink. Raguel called his wife Edna and said to her, Sister, get the other room ready and take her there. So she went and made the bed in the room, as he had told her, and brought Sarah there. She wept for her daughter. Then, wiping away the tears, she said to her, Take courage, my daughter. The Lord of heaven grant you joy in place of your sorrow. Take courage, my daughter. Then she went out.
Okay. The mother's name was Edna.
That's so funny. That's so funny to me.
I had a woman in Dodge City who made a stole for me after I had finished my ministry there, and her name was Edna.
Really?
And I never realized that Edna was a scriptural name, albeit the Apocrypha.
Bob, your glasses are under your chair.
Yeah.
They're under your chair, not to this side there. So
Oh, okay.
there she got them for you.
Thank you.
But, it's interesting that, it just, with all the religious sounding names, they come up with Edna. But anyway.
So do some research. Maybe that's a religious name.
Yeah, well, Edna. I never realized that Edna was a good biblical name. But they're getting ready for the marriage ceremony, and next week we'll read
We'll
and
find
see.
out if he survives it.
Yeah. If he's the unlucky 8, and but it's these are just interesting stories.
They are.
I mean, these are kind of historical. This is, in some ways, it's an adventure story because he's going cross country, and it's a little bit of a Hallmark story.
Mm-hmm.
He meets somebody, lo and behold, she's part of the tribe, and he can marry her. But he didn't find her in Nineveh. He found her on the way to Media. Didn't even know that that she was part of his tribe. So.
And then she's the sole heir of her family.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So it's really these are really interesting stories, and we'll do Judith next, and again that's another interesting story. Then we'll get into some of the Maccabees. Those are just sort of weird stories.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll see you next week.
I could